Oh great, now I'm gonna have the Animaniacs theme song stuck in my head for the rest of the year. Animaniacs, oh no. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today I'm diving into the Animaniacs reboot on Hulu. I cannot believe it's finally here. That trailer gave me a ton of feels, man. I watched this show as a kid, so it is just so amazing to see that this 2020 reboot is finally here. It debuts on November 20th on Hulu, and again, I gotta say a huge thank you to Hulu for giving me access to episodes 1, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So I didn't get the entire 13 episode season, but I was able to get enough of a feel of this reboot to tell you whether or not it's worth your time this week. Now, before I get into that, guys, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I do early reviews like this all of the time. So if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that big red button below and get subscribed to the channel. Tap on the bell so you don't miss out on any early reviews and some reactions this week. We got Mandalorian on Fridays, of course. Legend of Korra reactions this week. It's gonna be crazy as we almost wrap up this series, and I got some reviews coming as well for Sound of Metal and Fat Man, so you're not going to want to miss out on any of that. And if you haven't already, smash that like button and get loud in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Are you excited for this reboot, or do you think that they didn't need to really reboot a classic cartoon just like this? Alrighty guys, well, let's get into the Animaniacs. If you forgot what this is about, let me refresh your memory a little bit. Yakko, Wakko, and Dot are back, and now faced with adjusting to modern day life. It's been over 20 years since our wacky family has been brought back to the TV screen, and that means Pinky and the Brain are back too, attempting to take over 2020, as if we needed anything else to worry about this year. Right away, you guys, that pilot episode sets a fun tone. I mean, there's this Jurassic Park cold open that spoke to me, okay? And the entire way through from that point on, the kid in me and the adult in me were just jumping for joy. So let's get into what really worked with this reboot. And immediately, guys, it is just great to see the Animaniacs on a television screen again. There were so many memories that just came to mind of me as a kid trying to sing the theme song and getting it wrong. I still do that now as an adult, but it was just so fun to see Yakko singing a ton, Wakko and Dot just being awesome together, and the chemistry of all three of them. And when you add on top Pinky and the Brain, it's just so good. It's a perfect marriage. There's also something about how the show just blends together zany, childish antics and then the bits of mature commentary along the way that make this so accessible for both kids and adults like myself. But arguably the biggest reason why this reboot is successful is really bringing back the original voice actors. I mean, you got all the OGs. I mean, I can read off the list right now. You got Jess, Harnell, Maurice, LaMarche, Tress, MacNeille, and Paulsen. All of them just reprised their roles again. I mean, even Frank Welker is back as Ralph, and Ralph the Guard is so good in this, guys. It's just, it seems like they all still have that chemistry that they had years ago. And another thing that helps, the score. I mean, the composition here is beautiful. I saw a behind the scenes video that Maurice LaMarche shared on his Twitter account, and it was just so cool to see how they had a live orchestra in studio scoring everything as, you know, of course the cartoon was playing. But it really just adds the cherry on top, because there are some moments where episodes are a little slow. I want to say there are not a lot of laughs, but then you hear all of the string instruments and you hear all the sound effects, and everything just really comes together nicely. As a child, I really did remember laughing at the over-the-top animated sequences, but guys, I have to admit now I'm laughing a lot more at the political and social commentary. There's a lot of satire here that I probably would not have picked up on if I was a kid again. So this is just rewarding as adults. So if you want to show this to your kids, most of the time you could probably get away with it. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of violence, but for the most part, if you are an adult showing this to your kid who's maybe like 6, 7, 8 years old, you're gonna enjoy it too. And if you've forgotten, guys, Animaniacs was always poking fun and commenting on politics and social topics. It's just an incredibly self-aware show. And I even went back and revisited some old episodes, and wow, man, there are so many jokes there that I would never have picked up on as a kid. So yes, there are some people out there saying this is way too centered around politics, but guess what? That was always the Animaniacs MO. There are more on-the-nose jokes here, like the 2020 election special in episode 6, and then there's one that just surrounds Russia and its involvement with the US, whether it be movies, TV, it could even just be elections. It was so clever, if not the most clever episode of the episodes I was able to watch. And then there's Brain's monologues that you really need to pay attention to a little bit more to catch his slick jokes. It's just so awesome to see in 2020, and I'm very happy that the writers did not hold back. And before we get into what didn't really work with these episodes that I watched, guys, animation is one of my favorite art styles, and the animation here in this reboot is near perfect. I love all of this modern gloss that it has to it, but there's enough of that vintage feel to really make you feel like a kid again watching Saturday morning cartoons, and that's key. There are so many elements here that speak to nostalgia, but also to just modernizing the Saturday morning cartoon again. I love that the show isn't afraid to explore other styles of animation as well, which is most apparent in episode 4's segment, Bun Control. Yes, it's a play on gun control, but boy, when I tell you, they didn't just dive into other animation styles, they dived specifically into anime. We get anime Animaniacs, and I loved every moment. It's just something you're gonna have to see for yourself, guys, and when you do, I'm confident you're gonna love it too. Now, with all of that being said, there are some things, you guys, that didn't work with these episodes that I got to watch for the Animaniacs. There is a little bit of a consistency issue here, and I didn't expect every episode to be a home run hitter, and not every joke is A+ material, but guys, there are some issues where things start to feel lopsided as you get a little bit further down the line in this season, and unfortunately, a lot of that momentum that comes to a halt is because of the Pinky and the Brain segments. I love most of it, but there are some things that stick out like a sore thumb, and guys, it's not very fun. We see this a lot with the Pinky and the Brain segment during episode 4, for example, and then there's this reboot song in the pilot episode. See, I think the pilot episode is the strongest one in terms of consistency, but when you get to the final 2 or 3 minutes, guys, it's just low-hanging fruit. We have been joking about reboots for years now. We know Hollywood is just pumping out reboot after reboot. I get it. However, it didn't bring anything new to the table. Yes, the animation was nice. To me, it just wasn't very funny. And then there is one thing we definitely need to talk about, guys. It's going to either hurt or help your viewing experience based on how you watch this season. If you binge it all in one go, I think you're actually going to find this show to be a lot worse than it is. This is a show that is probably going to be better off viewed twice on a Saturday and twice on a Sunday morning, not binged in one day. And the reason I say that is because things start to feel a little too familiar. After a while, the jokes, the commentary, the satire, even though it is clever, you're gonna start to get a little exhausted, not by the length of the episodes, but just because things start to mesh together a little too much. And then there is one episode that I'm not going to get into the specifics of, but I needed to point out because when you see this first season, I think you might feel similar to how I feel about this episode. Episode 8 is not a deal breaker, but there is something in the second half of this episode that happens that just derails the entire thing. So overall, you guys, these episodes really worked for me. The Animaniacs reboot is solid so far. The writing is more hit than miss, and I really love the animation and the acting. This is a sweet escape from the stresses of everyday life, and honestly, I needed something to feel nostalgic and fresh just like this. While not everything was an A+, and some segments were less than stellar, I'm confident that seeing the full 13-episode season on Hulu will be a treat. These episodes really did make me miss my childhood cartoons on a Saturday morning. I wish I had some cereal to eat. Well, it would have been great. But now that I'm an adult and I can enjoy this show in its entirety with all of the social and political commentary, I'm just happy to say that the Animaniacs feels more alive than ever. Alrighty, you guys, well, there you have it. That's my real reaction to the Animaniacs reboot on Hulu. Again, it debuts on November 20th, and I will be joining you guys in filling in the blanks for the episodes that I've missed. And hey, when you do, let me know what you guys think about it. Get loud in the comments below. Like this video if you haven't already. And guys, hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on the bell so you don't miss out on any reviews just like this. Man, now I'm gonna go find that bowl of cereal. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you at the next screening.